Did you know that National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation almost killed its lead actor 3 different times during filming? Well, we all know Clark Griswold's quest for the perfect Christmas ended in complete chaos. But what you probably don't know is that the real chaos happened behind the camera. From electrocutions to broken bones to a legitimate earthquake hitting the set mid-scene, this 1989 holiday classic has more hidden stories than Clark has Christmas lights. Before we unwrap these bizarre facts, hit that subscribe button if you love diving deep into classic movie trivia. And without further ado, let's start with...
Hey kids, look, a deer!
Number 20. The Griswold house has a dark TV history. That beautiful 2-story colonial where the Griswolds live, it's not actually a real house. It's part of the Warner Brothers backlot on Blondie Street. But here's the weird part. The same facade was used as a murder scene in multiple crime shows throughout the 1980s. According to Warner Brothers archives, at least 7 fictional murders took place in that exact house before Clark ever hung a single Christmas light. If you watch closely during the outdoor scenes, you can actually see repair marks on the front door from where fake blood had stained the wood during a particularly gruesome episode of Hunter in 1987. Number 19. The cat food jello actually made people sick. Remember Aunt Bethany's lime jello mold with cat food? The prop department made it with real cat food mixed into actual lime jello, because director Jeremiah Chechik wanted authentic reactions. Beverly D'Angelo reportedly threw up immediately after filming her take, where she had to smile while holding it. The smell was so bad that 3 crew members had to leave the set. They ended up using the take where nobody actually eats it, because, according to assistant director Frank Capra in a 1994 interview, nobody could keep it down long enough to deliver their lines. Number 18. Randy Quaid lived in the RV for 2 weeks. This sounds made up, but Randy Quaid actually moved into Cousin Eddie's RV 2 weeks before filming his scenes. He told Entertainment Weekly in 1990 that he wanted to really understand what it felt like to live like Eddie. The costume department had to ask him to please wash his bathrobe, because it started to smell exactly like you'd expect. Quaid even brought his own collection of beer cans to scatter around the RV, insisting they needed to look properly aged. Security found him sleeping in it one morning at 4 a.m., even though his hotel was only 10 minutes away. Number 17. Rumors say that the electrocution scene used real electricity. When Clark gets shocked putting up the lights, they actually ran 5,000 volts through a metal framework Chevy Chase was holding. Obviously not enough to kill him, but definitely enough to feel. Chase revealed in his autobiography that he could feel the current, and his arm went numb for 20 minutes after each take. The effects supervisor was reportedly fired the next day, when producers found out he hadn't told anyone he was using real electricity. They did 5 takes total, and Chase said he couldn't feel his fingers properly for a week. Number 16. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was almost Ellen Griswold. Beverly D'Angelo almost didn't return for the 3rd movie. The studio had already started negotiations with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who had just finished her 2nd season on Saturday Night Live. She actually did a full chemistry read with Chevy Chase in September 1988, but D'Angelo changed her mind at the last minute when John Hughes personally called her and said, according to a 1989 Premiere magazine interview, "Ellen is you. Nobody else can be Clark's wife." Louis-Dreyfus would land Seinfeld just 4 months later. Number 15. The famous rant was completely different originally. Clark's explosive rant about his boss was originally just 2 lines. "That's pretty low," and "I hope he gets fired." But Chevy Chase went to John Hughes the night before filming and said the scene needed more punch. They stayed up until 3 a.m. writing that entire 20-second tirade. The swimming pool and the Bills parts were Chase's ideas, but Hughes came up with a specific phrase about the gift that keeps on giving. They wrote it on napkins from the hotel bar because Hughes didn't have any paper in his room. Number 14. The squirrel was actually 3 different squirrels. The squirrel chase scene required 3 trained squirrels named Peanut, Cashew, and Pistachio. Each one had a specific skill. Peanut could jump on command, Cashew was trained to run in circles, and Pistachio was the only one who would stay still for close-ups. The trainer, Steve Martin, not that Steve Martin, said in a making-of documentary that Cashew escaped twice during filming, and they had to shut down production for 4 hours to find him. He was eventually discovered in Julia Louis-Dreyfus's trailer, eating crackers from her purse, and she wasn't even in the movie. Number 13. Mae Questel kept forgetting it was a comedy. Mae Questel, who played Aunt Bethany, was 81 during filming and kept playing her scenes dramatically instead of comedically. She was the original voice of Betty Boop and had done mostly serious television work in recent years. Director Chechik said she would deliver lines like, "Grace? She passed away 30 years ago," as if she were in a Tennessee Williams play. They had to do 17 takes of the Pledge of Allegiance scene because she kept crying real tears during it, thinking it was meant to be a touching moment about dementia. The take they used was the only one where she smiled. Number 12. The tree caught fire for real. When Uncle Lewis accidentally burns down the Griswold's Christmas tree, that wasn't supposed to be such a big fire. The pyrotechnics malfunctioned and created a flame 3 times larger than planned. You can actually see Chevy Chase's genuine panic at the 47:32 mark. He's not acting. The fire department was called to the set as a precaution, though they'd gotten it under control by the time the trucks arrived. William Hickey, who played Uncle Lewis, was supposedly banned from holding anything flammable for the rest of the shoot after he accidentally dropped his cigar on a costume earlier that week. Number 11. The bonus check scene has a mathematical error nobody noticed. Clark's bonus check is supposed to be for $11,166.85 to cover a swimming pool. But if you do the math based on what he says about his salary and the company's bonus structure earlier in the film, it should actually be $14,233.50. An accountant who worked on the film noticed this during post-production, but they'd already filmed the pool brochure close-ups showing the lower price. John Hughes reportedly said, "Nobody's going to check the math on a Christmas movie," and left it in. The accountant sent them a corrected calculation every Christmas for 5 years, as a joke. Number 10. The sledding scene injured 6 stunt people. The sledding scene where Clark flies through the woods wasn't Chevy Chase, it was stunt double Mickey Gilbert. What you don't see is that they tried the stunt 14 times and injured 6 different stunt people in the process. The sled was supposed to follow a hidden track, but it kept jumping off and hitting trees for real. Gilbert broke 2 ribs on take 7, and another stunt double chipped 3 teeth. They finally got it right by literally attaching the sled to a cable car system they built through the trees. The smoke coming off the sled was actually steam from dry ice, because the friction from the cable was setting the bottom on fire. Number 9. Johnny Galecki's voice changed mid-filming. Johnny Galecki was 14 during filming, and his voice was actively breaking. If you listen carefully, his voice is noticeably higher in the early dinner scenes than it is in the final scene on Christmas morning. They had to re-record several of his lines in post-production to match, but forgot to fix one. At exactly 1:03:44, when he says, "Dad, this is great," it's actually spliced together from 2 different recordings taken 3 months apart. The word "dad" is his original voice, and "this is great" is his deeper voice. Sound mixer Thomas Causey mentioned this in a 2004 DVD commentary that was never released. Number 8. The neighbors Todd and Margot were based on real people. John Hughes based Todd and Margot on his actual neighbors in Winnetka, Illinois. They threatened to sue when they saw the movie, claiming defamation of character. The real couple's names were Ross and Margaret, and they actually did complain about Hughes's Christmas decorations every year. Hughes had to pay them an undisclosed settlement in 1990, but as part of the agreement, he got to keep their complaint letters, which he'd framed in his office. Nicholas Guest, who played Todd, met the real Ross at a grocery store in 1992 and said the guy refused to shake his hand. Number 7. The RV sewage explosion was orange juice and oatmeal. The infamous scene where Cousin Eddie empties the RV's sewage into the storm drain used a mixture of orange juice, oatmeal, coffee grounds, and green food coloring. It took them 8 takes to get it right, because the mixture kept clogging the tubes. Randy Quaid accidentally got some in his mouth on take 5, and had to be treated by the on-set medic for nausea. The smell was so terrible that neighbors called the health department, thinking there was an actual sewage leak. The production had to pay a $4,000 fine to the city of Burbank for creating a public nuisance. Number 6. Chevy Chase couldn't see during the lights scene. When Clark finally gets the 25,000 Christmas lights to work, Chevy Chase literally couldn't see anything. The lights were so bright, they temporarily blinded him for each take. He's not acting when he's stumbling around. He genuinely couldn't see where he was going. The lights actually pulled so much power, they had to bring in 3 additional generators, and they still blew the main breaker 4 times. An electrician calculated that Clark's display would have cost about $3,400 in electricity for the month of December 1989, which, adjusted for inflation, would be nearly $8,000 today. Number 5. The original ending was completely different. The movie was supposed to end with Clark actually getting arrested and going to prison for kidnapping his boss. Test audiences hated it so much that someone allegedly threw a shoe at the screen. They had to call everyone back 3 months later to film the current ending, where everything works out. Chevy Chase was in the middle of filming another movie and had to fly back for just 1 day. That's why his hair looks slightly different in the final scene, if you compare it to the rest of the movie. The studio spent an extra $400,000 just to change the ending. Number 4. Frank Capra's grandson made a secret cameo. Assistant director Frank Capra III, grandson of It's a Wonderful Life director Frank Capra, inserted himself into the movie in the most subtle way possible. During the scene where they watch It's a Wonderful Life on TV, he's actually the one providing the off-screen coughing sound when Clark chokes on his eggnog. He recorded it as a tribute to his grandfather, who had died just 2 years earlier. He also hid a photo of Frank Capra Sr. in the Griswold house. It's visible for exactly 2 frames, at 34:17, on the mantle behind the popcorn strands. Number 3. They accidentally filmed a real police chase. During the scene where the police arrive at the Griswold house, a real police chase went right through their shot. You can actually see it in the background at 1:35:22. There's a white sedan being pursued by 2 patrol cars that weren't part of the production. They kept filming and just incorporated it. The assistant director later found out it was a bank robber who had hit a Wells Fargo 6 blocks away. The guy was caught 20 minutes later and supposedly asked the arresting officers if that was a movie being filmed back there. Number 2. Beverly D'Angelo's eggnog was actually alcoholic. In the party scene, Beverly D'Angelo's eggnog was supposed to be non-alcoholic, but the prop master accidentally used the wrong batch meant for the wrap party. She drank 6 cups during multiple takes before anyone realized the mistake. By the time they figured it out, she was legitimately tipsy, which is why she seemed so genuinely relaxed during the kidnapping scene. She told Rolling Stone in 1995 that it was the most fun she'd ever had filming a scene, and that she didn't remember getting home that night. Number 1. The movie killed the Griswold franchise for 11 years. Here's the fact nobody talks about. Christmas Vacation was supposed to launch a whole series of holiday-themed Griswold movies. John Hughes had already written scripts for Easter Vacation, Thanksgiving Vacation, and even Arbor Day Vacation as a joke. But Chevy Chase was so difficult during filming that the entire crew signed a petition saying they'd never work with him again. The key grip literally wrote, "Never again," on the final slate board. Chase and director Jeremiah Chechik didn't speak for the entire last week of filming, communicating only through the assistant director. It took 11 years before anyone would agree to make Vegas Vacation, and even then, John Hughes refused to be involved. The Easter Vacation script still exists in the Warner Brothers vault, reportedly featuring the Griswolds accidentally destroying the White House Easter egg roll. So there you have it. Clark Griswold's Perfect Christmas was even more chaotic behind the scenes than what made it on screen. From Randy Quaid literally living in that RV, to Chevy Chase getting actually electrocuted 5 times. This movie is a miracle it even exists. What shocked you the most? Was it the real electricity, or the fact that Beverly D'Angelo was actually drunk during the finale? Drop a comment below with your favorite Christmas Vacation moment that didn't make our list. And hey, if you want more bizarre facts about your favorite holiday movies, subscribe and hit the bell. On our next video, we're covering the insane true story behind an amazing movie we all love. Until then, remember, if your Christmas goes wrong this year, at least you didn't burn down the tree, blind the neighbors, and kidnap your boss. Probably.